Head over to thebestsongever.com and purchase our new hit, Together Again. It is a cover of Smokey Mike and the God King. That's Jeremy Boring and Michael Knowles. And with your help, we will smash our way onto the Billboard charts.
Whistleblowing involves a crisis of conscience. They have to weigh their loyalty to the organization versus to the public interest. And I think that, with the story that we're going to talk about here tonight with these airline pilots, Ashley St. Clair, did you see that video this week?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like an explosion. It's just everything's sort of been festering and getting to this point, and it just blew open like this little sieve of pilots. I did a Spaces with her, and I would say about 70% of airline pilots are more conservative, and about 80 to 90% of the ticket agents are more liberal. So, these people inside the airlines, they're begging me to do something about it. Expose these buses are dropping people off. So it's remarkable. It's a remarkable scene. I mean, I was cornered in the airport by these airline workers. It was like the Samizdat, the Soviet Union. Don't, I keep whispering. I don't want to be seen with you, but the buses are pulling up in 20 minutes. So that's a new phenomenon, and they could lose their jobs. And then one of the people has a husband, and she doesn't want her husband to know that she's talking to me. You know what I mean? These are incredible moments that I've never experienced before.
I think it has a lot to do with this growing realization, I suppose. It's very simple. When I've talked about for the past several years, if you keep your head down and keep your mouth shut and keep working for companies because your argument is, I have a family, I have children to feed. There's a lot of people who are like, Tim, you don't have kids, you don't understand how hard it is, I can't lose my job, how will my kids eat? The attitude, my attitude is like, you are absolutely correct. That does not change the fact you are standing with Satan.
Yeah, because not everyone can grow food. You can get a vertical little garden in your kitchen. But like, if you've known for a decade that you could get a vertical farm in your kitchen and grow a little bit of crops for your kids to eat, and you haven't done it yet, you might want to question your sanity.
Well, it's this. To all the people out there who say, I would not blow the whistle. I'm seeing, James is mentioning a lot of people are stepping forward. Now more people are coming forward. I think the point is they're realizing this point. And this point is, did you think and this is figurative or literal, depending on how you want to take it, if you're a person of faith or not, did you think the devil, when offering you a deal, would only offer you luxury instead of necessity? It's an absurd proposition. A deal with the devil isn't, how would you like an infinity pool and a golden statue of yourself? Because people don't care about those things. The deal with the devil is always, how would you like your children to have full bellies every night? Serve me on your knees, and I will make sure your children are fed.
Yeah.
And so I understand the terrifying nature of the Faustian deal. But so many people, when I heard this from Owen Schroyer about the prison guards, I'm like, those guards saying, I know your work, I like what you do, I'm just doing my job. What they are telling you is, I signed the devil's contract.
I think a lot of people, though, it's like Eric Metaxas and I were talking, it's like acid in your heart. And it's like, I need to keep my job. Well, Eric says, you can keep your job and go to hell. But my children, and again, I don't have children and I can't fully empathize, but I would say your children are going to respect you. You're going to respect you more if you do the right thing.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not sitting here to pretend that it's easy in any way. It's probably the hardest imaginable thing. Again, I don't have kids. I respect that. And your kids may not understand.
See, I think it's the hardest imaginable thing, but you're stronger having gone through it.
I think your kids will respect you when they're older and they fully understand the sacrifices made. I mean, when I look back at the founding fathers, we're talking about wealthy dudes who had literally no reason to revolt. No, hold on. Like, there's a lot of grievances they listed, but these were grievances as leaders, and they were upset about what was being done to their communities and the future for their children. When I said they had no reason, I'm saying these guys could have kissed the pinky ring of the king and been wealthy and wanted for nothing. But they saw that the crown was abusive. They saw that the regulars were abusive. They saw farmers being killed, and they said, we will not sit idly by. In our luxury and comfort, we will risk our sacred honor, our treasure, our blood, our families. And they did. And that is inspiration. That is respect.
Man, Ben Franklin lost basic. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, the thing is, they believed that there was a better option for their children. And so this argument of like, well, I have kids, I need to provide for them is completely reasonable. I understand that fear. On the other hand, if you are helping a company that is ultimately preaching a world that is destructive, what are you leaving for your children to grow up in?
just to hammer and reiterate, the reason why I think James O'Keefe is seeing so many people stand up is that they've realized when this is the deal with the devil. Of course, it's going to help your family. Of course, your kids will eat food, and you are scared about what happens. The deal will never just be to give you a convertible, because think about the bargaining power of again, figurative or literal. The devil comes to you with a deal. What leverage does he have to say, I can give you a Ferrari or an infinity pool? None. You're going to be like, I'm going to give you my soul for wealth? What does that mean to me? Then he goes and says, your children will die unless you sign in blood my contract. They say, I will do anything you say.
That's right. That's right. I mean, that Elon kind of rejected that premise a few weeks ago, didn't he, with Disney? He's not going to blackmail me with money. And I think that's the personification.
Go F yourself.
That's the personification of this movement. I mean, whistleblowing, it's people going against the idea of a social contract. People inside the corporation, the presence of the outside on the inside. These people are. Again, Tim, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I would be perusing my DMs for a week and I might get a couple interesting. I work inside this company, but it's just like clockwork. And I think it's Elon. I think it's X. I think it's the platform. People, I can't believe that people in the government are just sliding into my DMs. I'm like, dude, at least use Signal or something. But they'll just DM me on Instagram and be like, I work for the DHS.
That's good. You know why?
Why is that?
Because people are no longer scared.
Right.
The mentality is, we have broken the dam. We are winning. We are winning culturally, and I will no longer serve evil.
Do you think any of it has to do with the timing of the election? Like, there's 1 year left. Might as well come forward now.
I don't think it's. Well,
there's 1 year left.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't think you just mean about Biden's presidency. I think.
Who knows what I mean?
Whether it's a year away or a year and 3 months away, no, something is happening. It might be the Elon thing, Elon's speech to Disney. It's a confluence of events. But the IBM story we did, I've never seen. The CEO of IBM there was on tape saying some things he shouldn't have said about Asians. And then he gets on an all-staff call with IBM. He says, no, this James O'Keefe video, do not respond to the video. Do not give a reaction, everyone. And then that was leaked to me by 10 people. So, and they can't fire. They can't fire. They can whack-a-mole one person. But if you have 118 leaks, it's actually impossible for HR within IBM to do anything about it.
Your ship is just sinking.
Your ship is, exactly. Yeah. You got water coming out of this hole, that hole. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
When a dam breaks, it usually is pretty destructive. And when like a sieve, if you sieve a balloon and it pops, that's essentially a pretty powerful explosive force, seemingly. Are you concerned with what might happen if these corporations rupture from the inside? Or
I think it's happening, and I've been thinking about this. I'm kind of a victim of my own success. I'm trying to figure out how to manage this dam breaking and how it can be leveraged for good. I mean, it's always been a crisis of conscience with the whistleblower, because you have to betray your colleagues, your corporation, your employer, for the public's right to know the information. And now it seems people are so fed up, like with this immigration thing I was just talking about here, people getting, refugees. Everyone's a refugee crossing the border. Here's a free airplane ticket, no security, go fly somewhere, and now you can vote and buy a gun. I mean, it's so crazy. It's like an SNL satire that perhaps the American people saying, I can't do this. Pilots saying and talking to Ashley, you should talk to Ashley too. She's inundated with pilots. Are they going to stop flying the airplanes?
I remember back when the mandates were on. Pilots were also a lot of pilots are starting to stand up. I think what we are seeing over the past several years, culturally, we are winning. More and more people. I mean, simply look at Donald Trump's polling. Okay, Trump is not a saint. Trump is not your hero, but a singular reflection, a nexus point of the sentiment of the people. People who did not vote in 2020 swing heavily towards Donald Trump. That indicates that a lot of people, and again, I'm not saying Trump is a saint, but a lot of people are apprised of what is happening to this country and the world. And this is also indicative of more whistleblowers, more people stepping up, more people refusing to play ball in the machine's game.
It feels like, in a way, people that are like, I've had enough of this system. let's expose it and call it out. It's kind of like that moment in Indiana Jones where he's about to take the idol off the thing, but they don't have a bag of sand to put on. They just take the idol. They're like, I'm done with it.
I just
then what?
can't imagine being a 18-year-old voter this year, right? When you're 10 to like middle school, whatever, life is pretty good, gas prices down, Trump's in office. Then you hit 14, COVID, Biden says all kinds of crazy stuff. He falls down constantly. We're on the brink of war in like 3 different places. And then you're 18 and you're like, I don't want to vote for this guy again. This is bad.
Well, the majority of whistleblowers in the 20th century, I think, suffered in obscurity. And this Jeffrey Wigand is a great example. That was the 60 Minutes guy who blew the whistle on nicotine, big tobacco, and his marriage ended, his mortgage ended. He was sued. He had security, death threats. But if the reverse effect is now happening, it's not the whistleblower who's being targeted and subjected. There's this weird inversion that is happening. It's the guy who's the CEO of IBM who's now being subjected to online comments and who's facing pressure. So there's this inversion in the power, and the social pressures are actually like with DEI.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.